Welcome back to talkSPORT Endzone, talkSPORT's dedicated NFL YouTube channel. Myself, Varney, looking ahead to a big game this weekend, Sunday night football, as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers take on the Dallas Cowboys. An absolute pleasure to say I'm now joined by starting tight end for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Cade Otton. Cade, how are you doing, my man? You well?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Really appreciate you joining us. I just wanted to
Of course.
start by asking about this season in general. Top of the NFC South right now, 8-6. How special a season has it been for you and to be a part of so far?
It's been amazing. Obviously, the season's long and there are ups and downs throughout it, and we've had our ups and downs for sure, especially in the win-loss column. But to find ourselves where we're at now, and to go through that journey with this group, it's been incredible. Love all those guys, and excited to keep playing and earn some extra football in the playoffs.
Well, let's talk a little bit about you and your year in general so far, because career highs, receptions, 59 receptions, 600 yards, 4 touchdowns as well. Really impressive, not just in the passing game, but in the run game, your role in this all new ground game that we'll talk about a little bit. But I wanted to ask about how special it's been for you as well this year to have those sort of highs and to have such a big impact in this offense as well.
It's fun, just the responsibility that the coaches have given us in the tight end room, and to be able to take on those roles, whether it's in the pass game or the run game. And obviously, the numbers speak for themselves for our offense. Just the run game has been incredible. It does so much for our team, controlling the game and setting up play actions, and also just how good Baker has been distributing the ball and the concepts that coach has drawn up. And so it's been a ton of fun. And like I said, I just enjoy being around the guys too. We have a great relationship as an offense, and we're looking forward to continuing that.
I wanted to ask, back when you were drafted back in 2022, you come into this team, Tom Brady's your quarterback. I just wanted to ask about that experience working with Tom and how that shaped your career going on into, your 3 seasons in the NFL now to the position you're in now where you're almost seen as a top 10 tight end in this league. How did that experience help mold you, do you think? And what are some of your favorite memories when you look back on that time as well?
Yeah, when I first got drafted, it was just really surreal, just knowing that I was going to come into a building and start working with Tom. And, I first get in the locker room and see his locker and kind of ooh and ah and stuff like, oh, that's Tom. And then you start to work with him and just realize that he just wants to be great. And in turn, he wants to make you great. And so he was very demanding in a great way, though. And he was great to me, super respectful, but also, wanted to see me be great, be super consistent, and that definitely helped me a lot. I grew a lot that first year, had some big responsibility for our team, and got to work with the best to ever do it.
Many would see that as a baptism of fire. Is that how you saw it? And do you feel like you came out better the other side because of that, working with such a legend of the game so early on as well?
Yeah, I think so, and I can't think of a better way to do it, honestly. So I'm super grateful for that year. I learned a lot, made some mistakes, but also learned some great things, and I think it's definitely, been a great stepping stool for me going from year one to year two and now year three.
Well, like you mentioned there, we're in year 3, but you've also had 3 offensive coordinators in that time. So many could see that as maybe slightly turbulent, having to, get to grips all of a sudden every off season. But I have to ask you about the job Coach Liam Cohen is doing right now and how special this offense is right now. Ranked third in the NFL overall, a top 5 rushing attack as well. Just tell me a little bit about Coach and what he's instilled on you. You mentioned a bit about that responsibility and how great that's been. How has he been to work with, as he seems to be the buzz of the league right now?
Yeah, it's been super cool just to get to know him as a person, but also, you know, how big of a competitor he is and how much accountability he takes for this offense. I think that's what has really, you know, allowed him to excel and in turn us excel is just the how much care he takes in the plays we're putting on the field and the product we put on the field, and it shows up in every little play, every little detail matters. And Uh, you've seen it come to life throughout the season. I think we've just got better and better every single week as we've, kind of learned the system and learned what he wants to put on the field, and it's an awesome product.
I mentioned he's been the talk of the NFL. A lot of people saying he's a real potential head coaching candidate for this offseason or potentially beyond. I just wanted to ask you about some of the qualities that Coach Liam Cohen has as a leader, as somebody who's going to get the best out of you on game day as well, and during the week as well. Is he a vocal guy or is he quite reserved? What are some of those things about Coach?
Yeah, he's pretty vocal, but he's also not talking just to talk. He has a lot of purpose in what he's trying to accomplish, and like I said, a lot of detail that goes into it. And so there's a lot of constructive communication that happens with him. And like I said, just the accountability he takes for what's going on the field. It's not like he's saying a few things and then letting the players take it and have the blame. He is always wanting us to get better, to be in the right spots, and at the same time, he's giving us a lot of credit for the plays that are being made on the field. And so he's been incredible to work with, and selfishly hope he stays. But I know any organization would be lucky to have him.
I just wondered some of the similarities or maybe differences he has with Coach Canales, who obviously moved on to the Carolina Panthers, and we've seen a real upsurge in their offensive production recently as well. Are they very similar, or are there some sort of differences between these two guys that you've been lucky enough to work with as well?
There are some differences in the scheme, but personality wise, I think like the how personable they are. Like they're not untouchable as people. Like they'll stay there and have conversations with you, and I think that makes a huge difference in the care you want to take, and you know how you're playing in practice and in games, and just the pride we take in playing for them. And so I'd say that's a huge similarity between Coach Canales and Coach Cohen.
We touched on the run game and how superb it's been so far this year. I just wanted to ask you about being part of that scheme, being involved, and we've seen the huge amount of snaps that you've had this year because of that versatility, being able to block in the run game as well, and what you're able to offer. So, in this scheme in general, how have you found adapting to it for this run game that's gone from almost last in rushing yards last year to now a top four, and how special it's been to watch on tape as well? How's that experience been?
It's been really cool. We had a bunch of different things going on in camp when we're installing and kind of trying to find our identity. And Coach Cohen and Coach Carbs, our offensive line coach, doing a great job just trying to figure out what fits with our personnel. And I think at this point we're able to do all sorts of schemes in the run game, but you see the gap schemes we do and some of the explosive plays it leads to with Bucky and Rashad and Sean back there. It's a lot for defenses. We do a lot of motions as well, so it's just I would not want to be on defense going against the run schemes we have, and then the obviously the play actions off of those as well. It just makes it so hard for them, and we work on it a lot. We do a lot of walkthroughs. We watch a lot of film, and at practice, it all comes together to be what you see on Sunday.
You mentioned there Bucky and the impact he's had as a rookie in this sort of this 1-2 punch with Rashad White as well, who came into the league with you at the very same time back in 2022. I have to ask you about Bucky and the impact that he's really had as a rookie, just 150 yards off for having an 1,000-yard rushing season, which just says a lot about how much he's been able to achieve so far this year. Did you expect him to have the impact he's had as a rookie when he came in training camp and early camps before the season?
Yeah, you see the ability and the elusiveness, and just something you can't like teach or coach. He has great instincts, and you never know how it's going to come to life and how it shows up on the stat sheet. And I think even if he didn't have 1,000 yards this year or whatever the number will be, just the explosive plays and the way that defenses have to focus on him, it is a great asset to our team, obviously. And so it's been incredible to watch him do his thing, and looking forward to seeing it down the stretch here.
I have to ask you about your quarterback as well, Baker Mayfield. And coming off the back of that contract extension in the off season, quietly almost having a career year to many people as well, and maybe going slightly under the radar with what he's been able to do this year. I wanted to ask you about, this is his 7th year in the league right now, so you could almost see him as a bit of a veteran, to be honest. But how has he been as an impact and influence on this organization overall since his arrival back in 2023?
Yeah, just in reflection, I think we've taken on as a team who Baker is, and it's just competitive, a great communicator, and a great player. And so you see who he is on Sundays and in interviews, and that's how he is all the time. And in between periods at practice, he's talking about like the look he sees and what he expects from the defense and where he might throw the ball on this player, where we might check to a different play. And it's all just really elite, high level stuff. And he's an awesome teammate to go along with it. And so I'm not surprised at the way he's played, and he's been nothing short of incredible since he's gotten to Tampa.
I was going to ask about that because we've seen, Baker is more than happy to let people know what he thinks on the field or off the field as well. Has that sort of wild streak. Do you see that often on sort of game day in the week, ready to get you guys pumped for the game?
Yeah, yeah, that's just who he is, and the part maybe you don't see is like how kind he is, and um, it's just he's an awesome person, and then just so fun to be around, and then a great competitor who'll let you know if he's coming after you, and back it up with his play, and yeah, just a lot of fun to play for. I think anyone in this league would love to play for Baker.
I think maybe we've seen as a subplot this year the talk about, maybe over the last couple of years, about quarterbacks and maybe being written off too early and then revitalizing their career elsewhere with other organizations. And we saw Baker have time with the Cleveland Browns, with Carolina, and then a brief spell with the Rams. I just wanted to ask you about that time you first met Baker coming into the Tampa organization compared to the man that you see now and the leader as well. How stark is that difference for a guy who's now seen truly as a franchise quarterback and getting the respect he deserves as well?
Yeah, I think, maybe he's earned a little more confidence in himself since then. I mean, I can't just the mental fortitude it takes to, go through a couple of different teams and not, have the success that he wanted. I I can't even imagine going through that. And he got here, worked his tail off, and ultimately earned the confidence in himself and the confidence from our team to get the starting job, and then run away with it and be one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And so he's everything you see on TV and more.
Final couple of questions from me, Cade. Really appreciate your time today. I just
Yeah.
wanted to ask about Mike Evans and the impact that he has. Coach Bowles was only talking in the last couple of days saying, well, he's a future Hall of Famer. It's going to happen. Chasing that 11 straight seasons with 1,000 yards receiving. He's such a special player to watch on the field. I just wonder what he's like off it as well when you're in training with him every day on the field. What's his impact like and what's his influence is like as well?
Yeah, I mean, another just kind, humble, great teammate. Uh, that's something that's been so special about being in this place is like all our best players are some of the best teammates as well. And Mike is kind of the epitome of that, where a lot of wide receivers are characterized as like divas or a little selfish, but Mike is not that way at all. And I found that out really quickly when I got here. So he's been a great mentor for me. Just I'm able to bounce ideas and questions off of him, and he's really willing to help me. And you know, obviously, just one of the best to ever do it. So it's a pleasure to watch him and work with him every single day.
You said that about wide receivers and that sort of perception that they can be divas and prima donnas and all of this sort of stuff. Did that slightly surprise you then when you meet somebody of Mike's standards and how highly he's seen, that he wasn't like that? He's very down to earth, but also has the ability on game day to make some of the incredible plays that we see week in, week out as well.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I had that preconception as well coming into the NFL that is little more self-centered business, like were to themselves, especially, some of those skill positions. But yeah, Mike shattered those notions, and a lot of the other guys too, like Levante and Chris and Baker now. So it's been awesome to be a part of this team.
Final question from myself, just looking ahead to this weekend's game, Sunday Night Football, taking on the Dallas Cowboys. Obviously looking to strengthen that grip on the NFC South, the Bucks, and looking for a fourth successive crown in that division as well. I just wanted to ask, in recent history, in the last couple of seasons, primetime games haven't, been great for the Bucks in terms of those big moments. I just wondered potentially if there was a reason why maybe the Bucks hadn't got the wins on those big days under the lights, but also then ahead of this Sunday, how do you sort of shut out that noise under the lights, the occasion? How do you block that out to go and get the win on Sunday and once again push towards the postseason as well?
Yeah, I think our mindset through this win streak is that we're playing playoff football, and that's how we're going to treat this game. It's going to be a playoff atmosphere as well. Sunday night football against a really good opponent, and we're just also going to focus on our process. We're not going to focus on the outside noise or what's happened in the past. We're just focused on this week of work, our opponent, and then how we can play the best football we can. And I think we're seeing ourselves peak at the right time, and we're just going to keep focusing on that.
Really looking forward to seeing how it plays out. Cade, thank you so much for joining us here on talkSPORT. All the best for the rest of the season, hopefully in the postseason as well. Hopefully we'll catch up in New Orleans in February as well. Cade, all the best.
Thanks, Will. Go Bucks.